What is going on, everyone? It is Tyler McKinney back here again, and today we're going to get back into the XFL, but we're going to have a little bit of fun, and at the XFL's expense. All right, if it's your first time here, hey, glad to have you. If you're a return viewer, thanks for coming back and thanks for watching more videos. And if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing. I really do appreciate all of you subscribers, all of you guys that continue to come back, continue to watch more and more videos and more content. It means so much to me, and I truly am just taken back by just how quickly this channel has grown, and just all the support and all of the comments that I get from you guys on a daily basis. It truly means a lot, so thank you. And remember to continue to give me those comments down in the comments section. And this video is really a tribute to the comments that you guys are leaving me. And I want to give a shout out to AAS 1345 Renner because, hey, that was our commenter that gave me the comment for this great content for the video for today. And he says, or she says, what are your thoughts on the old XFL teams? All right, so that's what we're going to talk about today. And listen, we're going to have a little fun with it. You know why? Because here are my thoughts. I think they're terrible. So why not have some fun with this? And instead of doing what we normally do and going breaking it down and that with it, we're just going to go into the nitty gritty. We're going to have a quick little 8-team tournament to figure out just which one of them is the worst. That's right, the worst XFL original team from 2001. So if you will, let's go back. Come on, let's go. Let's take a trip down memory lane for those of you old enough. And go back to 2001 with me, back to a time back before 9/11, back in a time when Vince McMahon was on top of the world. Everything he touched turned to gold. And he decided, you know what, since he had conquered the wrestling world, that he was going to conquer the football world. And he created the XFL, and hey, we know what turned out and what happened. And like they always say, the rest is history. But listen, we can go back and we can look at history and we can laugh at it, because right here, right now, I think the 2001 version of the XFL was pretty laughable, so let's have some fun with it. We've got an 8-team tournament here. These 8 teams, they're ranked. What are they ranked by? Nothing. I have absolutely no reason why any of these teams are put in these exact spots other than I just decided to put them in there that way. So that's what we're looking at, and that's the way that we're going to go. And in round 1, we've got the Memphis Maniax, and they're going up against the Las Vegas Outlaws. Then we've got our next game. We've got the Chicago Enforcers against the San Francisco Demons. Our third game, we've got the Birmingham Thunderbolts against the Orlando Rage. And then in our last and final game of the first round, we have the LA Xtreme against the Hitmen. The New York, New Jersey Hitmen. All right, let's go ahead and let's start off with our first game. Our first game is the Memphis Maniax against the Las Vegas Outlaws. And I actually think that the Las Vegas Outlaws actually were one of the few teams, really the only team, and actually had a decent name, a decent logo, and decent team colors. And I thought that they were actually pretty decent, pretty original, pretty cool. And so guess what? They're not making it out of this round. Why? Because they have a juggernaut that they are against of just terribleness. And let's just go ahead and let's start off with the name Maniacs. Whenever you throw the name Maniac out there, especially in today's terms, it's just offensive. And so pretty much if we're looking at this having any type of regional ties, which I do not think that it does, you're pretty much calling everybody there a maniac. And in 2001, I get it. It was a different time. It was about 20 years ago. And this was the era when it was the whole beat-em-up era where Vince McMahon was like, we're going to be the tough league because the NFL's gotten really soft. And we've kind of figured out that, listen, maybe safety is something that we need to pay attention to. And, that's something that we figured out now. But back then, it was the cool thing. It was the cool thing to be the tough guy. And I'll admit it, I was a tough guy back then too. And I've also come to my senses since then. I'm not a stupid teenager anymore either. Apologize to any of you teenagers out there. But hey, you can be a maniac if you want to, because that's exactly what we have. And I thought the name was terrible. I thought the logo was even worse, and pretty much round out with an okay colors, which means you're moving on to the second round. Good job, guys. All right, let's move on to our second game to figure out which team is the worst. And really, both of these teams, not very good. The enforcers, I have absolutely no clue what you are enforcing, what ties to Chicago you have, and I really don't know. And it even gets worse because I have no clue what a fist means. Does that mean that you're enforcing and that you are a bouncer at some club and you're going to kick me out? You're going to punch me in the face? Is this you're an enforcer because you have something to do with law enforcement? But then if you have something to do with law enforcement, why in the world are you throwing your fist at me? I have absolutely no clue. The color schemes are okay on it, but that's just kind of where we're at. And then let's look at San Francisco. San Francisco's the Demons. I just don't like team names like that with Demons, Devils, things like that. Again, because you're kind of telling that region kind of what they are, and to root for a devil or a demon, which is just not something that I would want to be doing. But hey, this is the cool, crude, in-your-face XFL. So demons are allowed, and that's perfectly okay. Now, looking at the logo is absolutely terrible to me. It looks like something out of an old adventure game where we've got a mid-tier demon boss, and that's who we're fighting up against and pulverizing. It looks all sorts of just late 90s, early 2000s bad. And guess what? Because of that, you win, and you move on to the second round because you are the worst out of those two teams. Now let's move on to our third game of this tournament, and it doesn't get any better here. You know why? Because we have a little thing called plagiarism. Plagiarism, you say? Well, but they're the Thunderbolts. They're not the Chargers. Well, yeah, but they look like the Chargers. They look like an exact rip-off of the NFL team. I mean, it's like you didn't even try on this one, guys. It's like you just, look, we like that. Yeah, they're the team that we like. Okay, let's try to take everything that they are and let's reproduce that. But you know what? We're going to copy everything, but we're going to make it worse. See, listen, copying it truly is, it's flattery, but the problem is that you picked nothing flattering about the way that you went through and copied the Chargers. It just doesn't look good. Down to the color scheme, you chose the wrong hues to go with. And so, yeah, sorry, Birmingham. You kind of are left with just a bad version of the Chargers. And Orlando, I don't know what to say. Again, this is another one of those offensive things. You're left with some type of Neanderthal caveman type of a logo, and it's plastered everywhere, all over. Everything with it. Like I said, I can't even get past this logo. I just see it and it just makes me cringe. The color scheme's pretty decent. Rage, I don't like those type of names. Those just can be anything type of a name. But here, I can't get past that terrible Neanderthal caveman logo, and that's pretty much all I see here. However, I don't think it's near as bad as making a worse copy of in competitors' product. And so Birmingham's going to move on to the next round. Good job, guys. You are the worst of the two teams. And to round everything out in our first round, we are going to go to our LA and our New York teams. Two biggest markets, and both of them have crazy teams that I don't really understand. Let's go ahead and let's start off with LA. LA's with the Xtreme. I mean, come on, guys. You went and ripped off an NFL team. Now you go and rip off yourself. You're the Xtreme Football League. And so one of your team names is Xtreme. You would think you could come up with something a little bit different, but you don't. You even get even worse with that because Xtreme is all over the place with it, with this whole X thing. And again, we're getting back to this kind of whole cool 2000s, like where we don't spell things the right way. We just spell them how they sound. We got the Maniacs with the X at the end of it. And now we've got the We got the Xtreme with the X all over everything, but it's not really an X. It's this kind of swirly thing that we're trying to figure out what it is. It is a hot mess, and I don't like it. That's pretty much about it. So let's move on to the New York, New Jersey Hitmen. I actually think that that's not a bad name, and when you look at them on the field, they don't look too bad. The H is okay. It's kind of this neat thing, and again, it's a harken back to the 2000s. That's the stylistic of the H. That's, what it is from, but it's not terrible. And so when I look at this, I'm okay with it until I start thinking about Hitman. Okay, Hitman, again, another tough guy name. So I'm thinking, a guy that's, a killer for hire type of a thing. But no, we end up with a logo with this weird-looking dude with this stupid-looking helmet thing, and he just looks like a buffoon with this weird-looking helmet on top of his head, and I have no clue what he is. Is he just this battering ram that uses his head to hit things? I have absolutely no clue. I think that that's terrible. But however, they're not a hot mess like LA teams. So guess what, LA? Because you're a hot mess, you get to move on. And pretty much that rounds out our first round. Takeaways from the first round. The NFL. Good job back in the 90s. When you expanded the NFL and you brought in your teams, whether it be the Houston team or the Tennessee team or the Jacksonville team or the Carolina Panthers, whatever, you actually did a really, really good job. All of those teams ended up looking great, so I'm actually really surprised because the XFL, you did a terrible job. A terrible job. But hey, let's not linger on that. Let's move on to the second round because we've got more of this tournament to get through before we can let it go for today. So we've got our second round. Let's go ahead and let's preview the second round. On our first matchup, we got the Memphis Maniax against the San Francisco Demons, which has, again, San Francisco, I am sorry. The Demons title, it does not pertain to you whatsoever. I don't think any of you guys are demons or anything of that nature. You're okay. All right, let's move on now to our second matchup, which we have the Birmingham the Birmingham Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts is what they are. They started out as the Blast, but because of certain political things and that, they had to go through and copycat. So now we've got our Birmingham Thunderbolts. Okay, we will leave it there. Let's go ahead then, and the team that they are playing against is the LA Hot Mess, which I think would fit perfectly well here, but unfortunately it's the Xtreme. And let's go with our first matchup. The first matchup, we've got the Maniacs against the Demons. And sorry, Demons, you just hold no candle to a Maniac. You never know what a Maniac's going to do. Listen, Demons, we know what you are. And, I think that your color scheme and everything's pretty much what did you in. Your logos, your helmet, and everything looks halfway decent. You look like a halfway decent team. As opposed to the Maniacs. They're going to get the axe. But unfortunately, getting the axe in this sense is a good thing. So we're going to go ahead and move you guys on to the next round. The Memphis Maniax, which again, Memphis, no offense, nothing to you. I don't feel that any of you from Memphis are a Maniac whatsoever. Just putting that out there. But the Maniacs, you move on to the championship round. Good for you. All right, let's move on to the cheaters. The copycatters. The Thunderbolts. When you look at you on the field, you look like a copycat version of the Chargers. So yeah, you look decent on the field. LA, not so much. You've got this weird X thing going on for you that doesn't look really great to me. I don't like it. And so yeah, since I don't really like what LA's got going on, LA, you get to move on. So we've got LA moving on, and sorry, Thunderbolts. Really what you had going for you was the whole copycat thing, but in this sense, it actually did you in because you copied a decent team, and we need the worst team here, so you lose. You don't move on. All right, so recapping the second round, we had the Memphis Maniax moving on, and we had the LA Xtreme moving on, and it's just getting worse as we go. Thankfully, though, we are to our championship game, and we are about ready to end this this mess of early 2000s craziness that I'm about wanting to get out of. So here in our final round, what are we looking at? Well, we're looking at two different teams that just are absolutely awful. We've got one that is the Memphis Maniax with some type of a logo that I have absolutely no clue what it is. We just know that it's a person, but he's a maniac. I guess that makes sense, right? From the way that he looks. And then we have our LA Xtreme. And the LA Xtreme, all I can think of is that this whole X thing is not working for you, and I get it. I get the whole type of branding thing, but for some reason it just changes. It just takes my mind to Nazi Germany, and I just see a swastika. I'm sorry to say that. I don't mean to put that out there. If I offended any of you guys who went through and created the branding, I don't mean to. I'm just saying that that's where my mind goes. And like I said, it's a hot mess. But in this instance, it's not really going for you, because I think that in this instance, the Maniacs are just sorry. They're worse than you are. And that's kind of how a Maniac is. A Maniac is just kind of, they do the unexpected, and that's why they're a Maniac. They're unpredictable. And when you look at them, they're unpredictable. I don't know what that is. Is that an upper lip? Is that a bad, Tom Selleck mustache that you've got going on there? I really don't know. And as we move up, those eyes, they've got these spinny things in them, and I don't get that. I don't like it. It wasn't good back in 2001, and it's not good now. And as we keep looking up, you've got the boy band haircut and the frosted tips, and that's never a good thing. I know that some of you guys were into that, and maybe some of you guys are still into that, but, you're talking to a guy that has no hair. So, I get the whole point there with it. So it's just all around a bad, hot mess, and because of that, your logo and your whole axe effects, you guys get to win the championship. Yay. So, there you have it. We've got the Memphis Maniax as the worst branded, put together, logoed, original XFL team from 2001. All right, guys. Listen, that's what I came up with. And I know some of you out there are probably not going to like this video. You're probably not going to like my humor in it. And that's perfectly fine. I just decided to try to do something different today, break it up from kind of the constant news and the constant seriousness of it, and just have some fun and just make fun of the XFL. Because in all honesty, it's okay. Because it was something that was tried, it didn't work, and I want to give McMahon props for going out and trying something, him and Dick Ebersol. But at the end of the day, it didn't work, and this is just even more proof that it shows that it didn't work. But hey, at least we could have some fun with it, right? All right, guys, that's pretty much it for today. So hopefully, if you liked the video, leave me a like. Let's try to get as many likes as we can on this. It would be really cool if we could get up over 100. I have never had over 100 likes on a video, so let's try to see if we can do that for today. Other than that, guys, hey, I know that you're busy, I know that I'm busy, so let's get on out of here. You have a good night. Bye.